Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DMD podcast. That's Dark Match Drive. With me today are Johnny and Jeremy. Just a three-person panel. I am Kieran, and we got some things to get into today. Who's going to challenge for ROH Championship? Because apparently there's been an injury, and they have to find someone else to challenge Claudio. Do you want to go over that, Jer? I'm not super familiar with it.
So, Ring of Honor TV aired tonight. We're filming this Thursday, July 13th. And it was announced by Tony Khan that the previous match for the Ring of Honor World title of Claudio defending against Mark Briscoe is now off because Mark Briscoe has a serious knee injury that apparently requires surgery. So he's on the shelf for a while. Now, that being said, I mean, we really only had like a 1 week build for that match anyways, so I don't think people are going to be too hurt over that. That being said, man, I mean, it's like they've got guys that you could put in there for the title, but I mean, Claudio's going to be coming off blood and guts.
Yeah. I find this is a hard thing. So this is my view, and I want your guys' take on it because I don't watch ROH as much. The champion right now is Claudio.
Yeah.
Claudio is, unlike most of the guys who are showing up on AEW and ROH, he's not bringing his belt with him almost ever. He doesn't seem to be bringing the belt to TV on AEW. He doesn't seem to be, like, he seems like he's playing two different characters, which is kind of weird. He shows up to ROH, and he seems like because he is on the top level of AEW right now, that who else in ROH is on his level? Because let's be honest, the people watching ROH right now are not the like super ROH fans from before. Some of them are because they're wrestling fans in general. They're AEW guys. It's an expanded AEW show until it proves otherwise right now. So it seems like Claudio is way up here, and you know when I went to go see it on I forget, was it Forbidden Door night or was it the other night? No, it wasn't.
The night before the
collision. It was the collision night when we went to go see the taping of ROH during the taping of Collision, and he fought Chuck Taylor, and I was like, is this going to be on TV or is this like he's fighting Chuck Taylor? Like,
yeah.
For the title or what? What is this? I just don't know who on ROH is going to challenge him, and if that's a problem. Is that a problem for you, Jer and Johnny? I guess. Okay, Jer, you just go on with your point here. I just wanted to interject, and the basic, the lesser wrestling fan myself, present that to you. Is that how you feel?
You're not wrong. Claudio definitely comes across as a league above Ring of Honor. I mean, when he won the belt, he was still kind of a Ring of Honor guy. You know, he did the thing with Jericho, and he was, you know, fighting for Ring of Honor, basically. So you could view him as that guy. But even since the Claudio thing, he's just almost a non-issue on Ring of Honor TV since, what, March was the last pay-per-view. And there's really no, I mean, the biggest angle in, look, okay, the two biggest angles in Ring of Honor right now are Stu leaving Dark Order, which is super weird now because Dark Order's heels against the Righteousness, who are heels, which is weird. But there's that, and then the Kingdom and who the hell are those guys? Sean Dean and the other the military guys. I forget their names, but yeah, like exactly, right? Like, yeah, you know, they're not. They have a pay-per-view in 6 days. The one match we knew for it is now no longer on the card.
That seems like a big problem.
Or sorry, eight
Who,
days, but still,
who is
like,
going to watch that show?
yeah, like it just feels like it took the back burner for Forbidden Door, and it's just not a good thing. You know, Claudio is so far above. I mean, okay, you put him in there with Dalton Castle, let's say. It would be a perfectly fine match. Dalton's not
You don't think Dalton's
believable.
winning? You don't think Dalton's going to win?
No.
You don't always have to know. Like there are quite a few times in wrestling where you're like, well, this guy ain't winning the championship. But it's a compelling story. Let's see how this happens. Does he cheat his way to get out of it? Does whatever. Like it happens, but I mean, if it's your championship and you're like, well, who are all these guys? You know, like, is Claudio just going to have it for like a year? Because I'll just wait till he loses it and then watch that match. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'll kind of sit around, I'll wait in the wings, and then I'll watch when someone says, "Oh, Claudio had a really great match with so and so," and I'll be, "Oh, okay." Or Claudio might actually lose it this weekend to so and so. I'll be like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll watch." But until then, it's like, eh,
Well, I think it hurts both of their champions right now because they're doing so much more interesting stuff on AEW TV. I mean, Claudio's been busy with the Eddie Kingston Blackpool Combat Club
okay,
thing on AEW TV for the last few months.
yeah.
Samoa Joe's been busy with Punk for the last, 4 weeks.
I feel
So,
well. I feel as if you asked if you asked the kind of AEW fan, like the kind of person who, watches every other week, I bet if you asked them who the ROH champion was, they'd be like Samoa Joe. Comes out with the belt all the time.
yep.
Hey,
Yeah, completely. They made a big deal about giving him the new championship because he's been champion, I guess, for a year now, I think they said, or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Johnny, how do you feel about the ROH main title picture? And since you love fantasy booking so much, don't lie. Tell us, like, how would you do it? How would, like,
I mean, Tony's in a pickle
is there
here.
a guy there? Is there a guy there who
There's
would
not.
say, like, we
There's
could
not.
put him there?
No,
There's no one.
There's no one
That's
guy
just
in the
hopeless.
current iteration of ROH that you can put as the main event of a pay-per-view and have fans go, "Oh, this is going to be amazing." And it's unfortunate because everything that Tony said about Ring of Honor has turned out to be false. He's said that it was going to be its own thing. It was going to be independent. It was going to be separate from, you'd see your crossovers. You'd have your people appearing on Dynamite and Rampage at the time, and it wouldn't hurt Ring of Honor. Well, it has, and I'm right to say the Forbidden Door, like the Forbidden Door, not Forbidden Door, the pay-per-view, has hurt Ring of Honor because you have so much of it that's not there. Like, I don't even watch Ring of Honor TV weekly anymore, which is unfortunate. I'll read the results after the taping on Saturday night now. Previously, Wednesday or whenever they were taping, when they were taping.
Well, you can't set aside 2.5 hours a week.
That was the problem. It became cumbersome, and it became a boring cumbersome. Like, it wasn't. It replaced dark in a sense, and that's not what this was supposed to be. Like, put your hands up if you even remember who the ROH Tag Champions are.
I thought it was the Lucha Bros last time.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that Jer has to sit there and be like, "Who are the tag champs?"
It legitimately took me like 5 seconds.
I don't even think.
Yeah.
I don't even think they've appeared on ROH TV once.
They did an 8-man like 2 weeks ago, but yeah, like nothing meaningful.
Didn't they destroy Dante Martin's leg or something like that?
That was the pay-per-view. That was when they won the belts. That was in the ladder match. But it's detrimental to the product that all of these guys. I think the worst thing that happened to Ring of Honor was when Claudio came in. When Claudio last year had to step in to Blood and Guts for Bryan. Claudio was never supposed to be part of BCC.
Yep.
He was meant.
That's true.
His debut was not supposed to happen until the Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Hmm.
His debut was supposed to be when he won the ROH World Title from Gresham. That was meant to be his first appearance. But because Brian got hurt, Tony needed someone to step in to Blood and Guts, and Claudio was right there, and it made sense because Claudio tied in to Regal as well. And
What is old Octopus Man doing? You could throw him out there.
He's in Impact.
he's
right
an
now.
Impact. And I think, back to the previous point of what would you do, I think Impact is the answer here. I think you need to open the forbidden door for a main event here. And I think the simplest answer to me is someone, you need someone who upholds both name value and Ring of Honor name value. And there aren't a whole lot of guys that fit that bill, but I think there is one, and he's strung together a pretty decent resume in Impact, and I think the answer is Eddie Edwards. Because, he's a multiple-time Ring of Honor World Champion. He has the name value. He's on Impact routinely as, a top talent. And I think he fits the bill that you could slip him into this as oh my god, it's Eddie Edwards. And it's not going to hurt the pay-per-view. It's going to help it. Because other than that, there's nothing here. This isn't like the pay-per-view a year ago where, your top billing match didn't need to be the title match because you had a separate match that was building. Like, people didn't buy Death Before Dishonor last year to watch Jonathan Gresham's title defense. They bought it to see FTR and the Briscoes.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's basically the same for every ROH pay-per-view except for the most recent one because, unfortunately Jay passed and, obviously he couldn't be a part of that. And, that was the first pay-per-view that didn't have that, it didn't have that effect, and you need that. And I think, Mark made sense, put him in the main event. He's Mark Briscoe. He's got the ROH value. He's got the name value. He's been on AEW TV and is getting over like nobody expected, to the population at large. So you need somebody who has that name value, who has that ability, and there aren't a whole lot of guys who fit that bill. So I think that, to me anyway, I'd be making the call up to, I guess, Scott and being like, can we get Eddie next Friday? Is that a thing? Can we do that? Because he makes the most sense. He makes the most sense from both sides.
Eddie won't.
100%.
Like,
this brings up a super interesting point, actually. Something I don't know if you guys have anything else to cap off this conversation, but you guys think that AEW will, what are they going to clip first? Are they going to get rid of Rampage? Are they going to get rid of ROH? When are they going to say, something isn't working and get rid of it? Do you think they're going to ride out everything? Is that... Say they leave Rampage on even though it's only got 250,000 people watching and it's whatever. It becomes not even as good a product as it is right now. What happens if ROH... I mean, ROH can't be really delivering them very much at all right now. I can't imagine it's bringing a lot of money. Do they actually, do you think Tony Khan's going to make the clip on some of these things and be like, hey, this isn't working? Because so far, almost everything he's done, he's been like, yeah, but the company's doing good, and it is doing good. And we'll just keep floating these things out there. We'll just keep...
I think he struggles with it because he's not known for cutting the legs off something, even if it's dying. I mean, it took them a while to get rid of that whole, Brandy Rhodes hair cutting, whatever they were doing back then. So, they'll let some things die on the vine for a while before they realize, oh, this really isn't working, huh? So I don't know if... I think Ring of Honor is structured in a way right now where it won't hurt. I mean, I have no idea what the ticket sales look like for the show next week, but I can't imagine they're good. I mean, there's no card booked at the moment. And Ring of Honor does not have the name value as a company as say AEW or WWE even, where the brand is going to sell those tickets. You need to have a marquee match or two where people are going to be like, oh man, that's Mark Briscoe and Samoa Joe. Those are some Ring of Honor guys. I'm going to check that out. This show does not have that. And while, you know, in ring, I'm sure the show is going to be fantastic no matter what they put on. But you have to get people to want to buy the show. You have to get people to spend ticket money. You got to get them in the door first. Doesn't matter how good the show is if 300 people are there.
I feel like they definitely need to lean on, like, who's gonna face Athena? Bring someone in for Athena. Who's gonna face the Lucha Brothers for the tag titles? Like, they better start getting these things up here because, like
I don't know if anything's been announced on tonight's episode other than the Mark Briscoe thing.
yeah.
I mean, I could take a quick look, but
I said I do one thing I do like about ROH. I do like those Righteous Brothers guys. I haven't really dug too deeply into them, but seeing them live, I was like, this is pretty neat. I don't know what these guys got going on here, but I thought it was pretty interesting to me. So
okay, so so either Shane Taylor or Dalton Castle will challenge Samoa Joe for the TV title. They're having a tournament final next week between those two, so there's one match.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
There's no programs. That's the thing. There's no programs.
They seem to be building Darius Martin, Matt Sydal, and Christopher Daniels to challenge for the 6-man belts.
Oh, that's the thing that exists, I guess.
Yeah, like it's.
I mean, the Kingdom, or not the Kingdom, the Brian Cage and
that's the Embassy.
The Embassy. Yeah,
the Gates of
Embassy. They have that, right?
Yeah,
they have that right now. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's too bad. Too bad he's not free, because Brian Cage could obviously, you could throw him into any match.
The problem they were facing is that, forcing Claudio into the BCC and then booking it the way they have turned Claudio into a heel, and you don't have a babyface challenger. I think this is one of those things where I think good guy Tony reared its ugly head here. And I think that obviously the plan for a very long time had been main event of this pay-per-view was going to be Claudio and Eddie. I think that was always meant to be the main event, and then I think, presumably Rocky Romero, got on the phone with Tony and said, we'd like to have Eddie in the G1. Is that a thing we can make happen? And Tony, who can we get in the G1? And it worked its way back to Eddie, that he was the guy they selected to have the opportunity, and obviously Eddie's going to run at that opportunity head first, and
yeah,
I think that took him out of this main event, which is what they've been building to, like this whole thing, getting involved with the BCC angle and all those things that Eddie has been doing, has been building up a program with Claudio to main event a Ring of Honor pay-per-view on AEW TV, which was great booking until it couldn't happen anymore. And then you're faced with, well, what do we do now? We've already announced the pay-per-view. It's not like we can just cancel it. It has to happen now. So here we are. You put Mark in there because, he's the Briscoe. And now obviously he's injured and can't do it. And now here we're left with nothing. Not one.
It would be interesting. So, they announced that Coda was the fifth person, right?
Yeah.
Why not have him fight Claudio the next night?
I mean, they did literally use nothing but Ring of Honor clips in the video for him last night.
Well, I mean, that's more because what else could they have used?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, but
they did have some. Interestingly enough, they did have some all-in footage there too.
They could just throw that out there, and that would be something that I would just want to go see. I just want to see it. It wouldn't have to have any build-up, but I mean, I know who he is, and other people don't, and I get that. But once you're going to ROH, you're probably getting into deep wrestling fans, not anyone who just saw it on TV and decided to start watching it. But, I think let's all take one more quick stab. Okay, so who would you like to see? If you can put anyone conceivably in there, what would you like to see then, Jared? What would you like to see as the main event? Who's going to face him? Who do you think conceivably would get you to watch the show?
Honestly, probably Kota Ibushi, and I mean, it's literally 48 hours after Blood and Guts, so why not
throw a tiny little angle in that within that match? That would maybe get that going. Johnny,
Yeah,
who do you think? Are you still thinking Eddie Edwards?
I mean, that would be my call. That would be who I'd want to do it. That said, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be Old Reliable, and I think it's gonna be Jay Lethal.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I
yeah.
mean, that wouldn't get me
Or
to
Jeff
tune
Jarrett.
in. It wouldn't get me to tune in from nothing. Yeah, that wouldn't get
If
me
we
to tune in
if
from
we
nothing,
thought Chris
but-
Jericho ROH
Yeah.
champion was bad, could you imagine Jeff Jarrett Ring of Honor champion?
Oh,
Just
wait a
get-
minute.
just
There's a
get-
name we're forgetting about.
Just get Matt Cardona. He'll do anything.
There's a guy who just showed up to the company, not on TV yet. Tony Khan's been talking him into it.
No,
Claudio's
I don't.
Claudio's
no,
old running buddy.
no. That's not allowed to happen. That when that happens,
We
when-
could get Claudio and Chris Hero for the Ring of Honor World Title. And I mean, that would pop a buy rate.
That would probably, yeah, that would be
Hero's
quite a bit,
first
'cause
match in God knows how long.
I don't know if they could do that just because I'm sure he needs some shaping up to do, but he could be. I mean, who knows? Who knows? That's pretty fantastic. Oh, you know, I'm pretty sure Tony Khan watches this show, watches our podcast.
Yeah.
We
So
have
Tony,
given you several options, Tony.
it's
and we
it's
wanna
a
be
it's a
paid
pickle.
handsomely.
It's a pickle because if you read Tony's tweet, they're not announcing the opponent until after Blood and Guts. So there's going to be zero TV for this. Unless they shoot a backstage vignette and put it up on
well, they
Twitter.
got Air TV next Thursday before the pay-per-view, so they do have time to do it. But
I
What
mean,
you're
they
saying-
could tape it on Saturday for this week's TV, but I mean, I don't know.
What you're saying is I'm right, and it's definitely going to be Coda, and they're just going to do a thing within the match to build it up.
Honestly, I hope not. Not because it wouldn't be a great match, because it would.
Yeah.
Only because I would like the BCC and the Golden Elite to stay the fuck away from each other for the foreseeable future.
Okay, and that about does it for that topic. I think we've gone. I think we actually went pretty good. I think we're all pretty smart. We all get points for that one. Good segment, guys. Good segment.